From DebbiesDesignDiary.com, this is Serial DIY, one house repurposed week by week. This is episode 10, headboard from a deconstructed armoire.
My headboard used to be an armoire, and it was a birthday gift from Jesus to my mom. About 5 years ago, my mom called me on the phone and she said, "Debbie, when you're out looking for junk, can you keep your eyes out for an armoire? I need one for the living room." It happened to be my mom's birthday, and I remember saying this prayer, "God, I wish I had some money so I could just go buy my mom an armoire." And I was kind of frustrated because I'd been on a very tight budget. I just kind of said that prayer quickly and went about my day. Not long after that, Bobby calls me and he says, "Hey Debbie, there's this armoire on the side of the street. You should come over here and get it because it's really good and it has a free sign on it." I made a beeline over to Bobby's house, and this thing is massive. It was a little bit decrepit and one side of it was missing the molding because it had been ripped from the house. So I immediately called my mom. "Mom, Jesus gave you a birthday present. I'm standing next to this amazing armoire and it's from the 1800s. You have to get Dad to get over here with his truck because it won't fit in my car. We need to do it now because somebody else will come along and take it." I knew that that was going to be a challenge because my dad hates old things. Every time I send him on a trip to pick up something for me, he thinks it's gross. He keeps his truck really clean and pristine, and he doesn't like to put old decrepit things inside of it. I could hear my mom and dad arguing in the background. My dad didn't want to come and my mom was trying to express the urgency of the situation. My dad rolls up, he takes one look at the armoire and he starts yelling. And he starts saying things like, "I'm not gonna put this piece of junk in my truck." He's pointing out that it needs work and that it's falling apart and that it's not the same on both sides. "Dad, this is Mom's birthday present from heaven. You can't interfere with God's work." He reluctantly took it home and then he had to spend a lot of time putting it back together. The two front doors never really came together correctly. So Dad, what are you doing?
Huh?
What are you doing?
I'm doing what you said.
Tell me why you didn't like it.
Because it was a piece of junk. It just looked like a lot of work. One door was shorter than the other, and then the molding didn't go all the way around. And it's too big and monstrous and heavy.
Are you glad it's out of your house?
Yes.
My parents were married for 48 years, and I think they have lived in at least 24 houses in that time frame. My dad likes to fix up houses, sell them, make money, and move to another house. Right before my parents moved into their last house, my mom told me that my dad was trying to get rid of the armoire again. He had it listed on Craigslist. I was so mad at my dad because my mom, she had months to live and he was still trying to get rid of that armoire that she loved. I marched out into the office and I looked at my dad and I said, "Are you selling that armoire on Craigslist again?" His eyes bugged out of his head and he's like, "Deborah, we're getting rid of that thing. It's too hard to move and we're gonna sell it." And I just said, "How much are you selling it for?" And he goes, "I don't remember." So I went and I grabbed my phone and I found the listing and then I threw my phone down on his desk. $75, I could sell it for at least $300 in my store. I will keep it. He didn't even say anything. He just glared at me. He was so mad. When it came time for them to move, my dad realized that it was easier just to let the movers put it on the truck than for him to put it on his truck and take it to my store because it was massive.
Here is some footage of my dad taking the armoire apart because it was too big to fit in my house. Notice the big smile on his face.
I guess you have to have a weird sense of humor to appreciate this part. It is kind of sad, but it's also funny. Literally the day that my mom passed away, my dad unloaded the armoire and he looked at me and he said, "If you want this thing, then let me know now because otherwise I'm gonna get rid of it." I told him that I did want it. He had sold his truck, so he had to rent a U-Haul to bring it to me, and I live an hour away from my dad. That is how much he did not like it. I just have to laugh because my dad is a great guy, but he just doesn't dig it. He doesn't like old things, and that's just the way that he is. My mom got to keep the armoire until her very last day, and then after that it was goodbye to the armoire. After my dad brought it to me, it was way too big, and so I decided to take the armoire apart and use all the pieces to reconfigure it into something else.
Bobby helped me attach the doors together, and we salvaged the molding to fit in between the gaps. I painted the undercoat in a patchwork pattern with Queen Bee and Farm Fresh, like I did in the Salty Kiss video, which I will link here. Next, I used Hay Sailor and watered it down 50% paint and 50% water. This is so I could apply a thin coat over the patchwork coat and rub the color back easily. For a highlighted effect, I used this mix in the middle panels and a darker mix with some black paint added to Hay Sailor in the outside panels.
If you watch my Salty Kiss finish video, I took a damp rag and I started rubbing the color back, and I distressed the doors to bring out all of the color underneath. And then I took the clear wax and I put that over the top of the doors.
Before I started distressing, I added more color using the turquoise iris method. If you're not familiar with Dion, I will attach a link to her Facebook page below. With this method, you reactivate the paint with water and use a squeegee or a putty knife to blend color over the top. I have a great video with Dion showing how to do this in detail, which I will link here. Let all the layers of color dry completely, then spray the surface again with water and rub back the paint to reveal all the colors underneath.
I found this sofa at a thrift store for $20 and I painted it with bohemian blue. It's totally velvety and soft, and it's not crunchy, it's not scratchy, it doesn't come off on my clothes. And this video that I made 2 years ago is my most popular video on YouTube. I literally get questions about how to paint a sofa every single day. When I decided to take the velvet headboard and add it to the top of the doors for this project, I thought it would be a good opportunity to answer all the questions. Everyone asks me all the time if the sofa is scratchy or crunchy or stiff, and it's totally velvety. It's not crunchy, it's not scratchy, it doesn't come off. Here it is, right here. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you tell I'm all worked up about the sofa? This is my life. I open my emails and there's at least 10 emails from people asking me about this couch. I'm not an expert on painting upholstery. I just know how I did this one, and I will tell you how I did it, and I wish you luck from there. If the paint sits on top of the fabric and doesn't become one with the fabric, then it's gonna get crunchy and it's gonna crack. So you have to be really patient, and you have to put on a whole bunch of watery layers and let it dry in between.
I have a detailed blog post answering all of the frequently asked questions about painting a sofa. Check out the link below before you try this, as it's easy to mess it up. And once the fabric is crunchy, it's pretty challenging to uncrunch it. Having said that, it's not hard to do this if you're patient. The key is to work in small sections, getting the fabric very wet and applying several coats of watered down paint until the fabric is dyed. I applied 5 coats of paint to cover this headboard. Keep in mind that the original color of the fabric will affect your final result. Because the paint is so watered down, I suggest going with a darker color of paint. If I were attempting to paint this with a lighter shade like white, it might take forever, or it might not work at all. I painted the plastic frame with Farm Fresh. DIY paint will adhere to plastic, glass, or laminate. However, the initial coat will be patchy. Allow to dry, and the second coat goes on easily. I used golden ticket to highlight the details of the headboard. This is a beautiful gold metallic top coat that can be applied with a brush or your fingers. A little goes a long way, and it's perfect for bringing out carved areas or molding. Then I distressed the paint with a sanding sponge and clear waxed the plastic frame. You can see here that when you apply clear wax, it dramatically deepens the color, but it will lighten back after it dries. I used my hair dryer to heat set the painted velvet. You can also do this with an iron or by putting fabric in the dryer. Finally, Bobby helped me attach the doors to the velvet headboard, making sure everything was level and connected to my bed frame. For every project, I create a blog post with more photos, details, and answers to your questions. It usually posts a week after the video. Check out the link in the description box or visit debbiesdesigndiary.com.
My newest shoes right here, can you see them? They're super cute. They're from a store called Jimmy Waz. Look, can you see the detail? They're good. They say that if you give yourself a reward after you do something hard, you're more likely to do it again. So these are my latest reward right here. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos, because I'm going to DIY my entire house. And let me know in the comments if you have ever found anything amazing on the side of the road. Use the hashtag DebbieLookAtMyTrashToTreasure on Instagram and I'll check it out and share it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
To find DIY paint in your area or to sell it in your store, click the link below. Thanks for watching.
He's so cute.
I love him so much.